Hello everyone, today I'll teach you about the carotid triangle. Now consider this as your face. Okay, this is the side of your face. I know it's hard to believe. And this is the neck. I'm enlarging the neck. Okay, so this is superior, it is inferior, this is anterior and this is posterior. Okay, so this is the side of the neck. There's this muscle called sternocleidomastoid. Okay, this sternocleidomastoid run across the neck and divides the neck into two triangles. This is one triangle, an anterior triangle, and this is the other triangle. It is the posterior triangle. Okay, anterior triangle and posterior triangle. There's a the muscle called digastric muscle. So this is your digastric muscle and you'll have one more muscle called omohyoid muscle. It runs like this. So this is your digastric muscle and this is your omohyoid muscle. These muscles in turn divide your anterior and posterior triangles into sub-triangles. Okay, the anterior triangle is divided into 4 sub-triangles and the posterior triangle is divided into 2 sub-triangles. So there are 4 anterior triangles and 2 posterior triangles. Okay, this is anterior and this is posterior. They are submental triangle. Okay, submental triangle, digastric triangle, carotid triangle and muscular triangle. The posterior triangles are occipital triangle and supraclavicular triangle. Supraclavicular triangle. The supraclavicular triangle is also called as the subclavian triangle. So these are the triangles in the side of your neck. Submental, digastric, carotid, muscular, occipital and the supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. Now in this video I'll tell you only about the carotid triangle. So whenever you learn a triangle, you learn about its boundaries. Okay, you have to learn about its boundaries and then roof, floor and then the contents. So these are the things you learn about a triangle. So this is your carotid triangle. Okay, this is the digastric muscle, it is the sternocleidomastoid muscle and this is the omohyoid muscle. Your carotid triangle lies here. Okay, so we are going to see about this triangle now. We'll see the boundaries first. Okay, the triangle is situated in such a way that it is like this. Okay, the base is towards the posterior side and the two sides here and the apex facing the anterior side. Okay, so this is the posterior side and this is, see, it runs like this from anterior to the posterior side and it runs superiorly. So it is antero-superior side and this is antero-inferior side. As it runs inferiorly, this is the antero-inferior side. So these are the sides of the carotid triangle and the boundaries are formed by, you have your sternocleidomastoid muscle here. Okay, so posteriorly it is formed by the sternocleidomastoid and anterosuperiorly you have the posterior belly of digastric muscle. Okay, the digastric muscle has two bellies, an anterior belly and the posterior belly. The posterior belly of your digastric muscle forms the antero-superior boundary and antero-inferiorly you'll have superior belly of the omohyoid muscle. Okay, the omohyoid muscle has two bellies, a superior belly and the inferior belly. The superior belly of the omohyoid forms your antero-inferior boundary. So these three muscles form the boundaries. Okay, posteriorly by the sternocleidomastoid anterosuperiorly by the posterior belly of the digastric, and anteroinferiorly by the superior belly of the omohyoid. This is about the bound. We'll see about the roof now. The roof is formed by skin, okay? Skin, superficial fascia and deep fascia, okay? Skin, superficial fascia and the deep fascia. The superficial fascia contains platysma, okay? Platysma is a muscle, it is seen in the neck, okay? Platysma. And you have cervical branch of the facial nerve. Cervical branch of the facial nerve. Facial nerve has 5 terminal branches, okay? The cervical nerve is the 5th branch. So the cervical nerve of the facial nerve, and you'll have transverse cutaneous nerve of the neck. Transverse cutaneous nerve of the neck. And the deep fascia is formed by the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, okay? Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So this is the roof, okay? The roof is formed by your skin, superficial fascia and the deep fascia, okay? The superficial fascia contain platysma, cervical branch of the facial nerve and anterior transverse cutaneous nerve of the neck. And the deep fascia is formed by the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So this is about the roof of the carotid triangle. Now the floor. The floor is formed by 2 muscles and 1 membrane. The 2 muscles are middle constrictor of pharynx and the inferior constrictor of pharynx. And the membrane is thyrohyoid membrane. So they form the floor of the triangle. Middle constrictor of pharynx, inferior constrictor of pharynx and the thyrohyoid membrane. They form the floor of the carotid triangle. See, this is the carotid triangle. Its floor is formed by, this is the middle constrictor, this is the inferior constrictor, and this green thing is your thyroid membrane. So this is the floor of the carotid triangle. We'll now see about the contents of the triangle, okay? For making it easy, I divide the contents into arteries, veins, nerves and lymph nodes. So we will see the arteries. What are the arteries present in the carotid triangle? They are, so it's carotid triangle. So all the carotid arteries present here. The common carotid artery, internal carotid artery and the external carotid artery. So all the 3 carotid arteries are present in the carotid triangle. In the external carotid artery, 5 of its branches, okay? The first 3 branches, namely the superior thyroid branch, its lingual branch and the facial branch. These are the anterior branches, and the medial branches, which is the ascending pharyngeal, and the posterior branch is the occipital. So the 5 branches of the external carotid artery, internal carotid artery and the common carotid artery are present in the carotid triangle, okay? Common carotid artery, internal carotid artery, external carotid artery along with its superior thyroid, lingual, facial, ascending pharyngeal and the occipital branches are present in this triangle. So now the veins, okay? Internal jugular vein is present, okay? Internal jugular vein along with the common facial vein, lingual vein and the pharyngeal vein, okay? These 3 veins drains into the internal jugular vein. This occurs in this triangle, okay? So the internal jugular vein along with the common facial vein, lingual vein, and the pharyngeal vein, draining into the internal jugular vein. These are the veins present. And the nerves. The nerves are 10th, 11th, and the 12th cranial nerves. Okay. Along with this, you have the sympathetic chain. Okay. Sympathetic chain. The 10th cranial nerve is your vagus nerve. 11th cranial nerve is the spinal accessory nerve. 12th cranial nerve is the hypoglossal nerve. And regarding this vagus nerve, its superior laryngeal branch is divided into external laryngeal and internal laryngeal. This division occurs in the carotid triangle. Okay, so the nerves are vagus nerve, spinal accessory nerve, hypoglossal nerve, along with the sympathetic chain. Okay, these are the nerves present in the carotid triangle. Regarding the lymph nodes, the deep cervical lymph nodes is present in the triangle. Okay, the deep cervical lymph nodes along the jugulodigastric and jugulo-omohyoid group of lymph nodes. So they are present in the carotid triangle. You also have your carotid sheath in the carotid triangle. Okay, a carotid sheath is nothing but, see, it is like this, a sheath, okay, a covering. This covering encloses an artery, a vein, and a nerve. The nerve is the vagus nerve, that is your 10th cranial nerve, vagus nerve, and the vein is the internal jugular vein, and the artery is common carotid artery and the internal carotid arteries. Okay, common carotid artery. The common carotid artery actually divides into two arteries, internal carotid and the external carotid. So the internal carotid artery is present here along with the common carotid artery. So these are the contents of the carotid triangle. Arteries. The arteries are external carotid, internal carotid, and the common carotid artery. And regarding the veins, we had internal jugular vein along with its tributaries from lingual vein, common facial vein, and the pharyngeal vein. And the nerves are 10th, 11th, and the 12th cranial nerve along with the sympathetic chain. And then you had lymph nodes, the deep cervical lymph nodes and carotid sheath. So these are the contents of your carotid triangle. So we have seen carotid triangle entirely. Okay, so when they ask you in an essay or a short note, you can write, so where the carotid triangle is situated, its boundaries, roof, floor, its content. The content is divided into arteries, veins, nerves, and the lymph nodes. Okay, so this is how you'll write the carotid triangle. So thanks for watching this video. To support me and my channel, I'd like you to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.